20 or so years ago. I mean, I was reading and, reading articles, newspaper articles, watching the skies all the time. But I guess about 20 years ago or so, I started attending a lot of conferences. Um, there's a message that just popped up on the screen there for you guys. But I'd go to cryptid conferences, MUFON meetings. I started going to a bunch of MUFON meetings here. I'm hoping to maybe talk to Debbie Ziegelmeyer, who's the director, I think, of Missouri MUFON, and see if she'll actually come in and we can interview her at some point about alien sightings, and maybe we can talk her into, if you guys want, we can talk her into maybe a
No, we don't want Ken. No, not at all. Yes,
fine.
definitely.
All we see is your mouth moving, right?
No, actually, I got it working, so they can hear me
Oh,
now.
well, never. Then I apologize. You didn't give me a sign, so
Oh, I'm
anyway,
sorry.
No.
that's okay. Like anyway, uh,
I'm
Galaxy
kind of
Quest.
lagging on mine. I see myself over here, and I'm like, I'm way behind.
Oh,
So,
No,
are,
and
are
then for the
you
past,
watching yourself on screen? Don't watch yourself.
I am, because by God, I'm gorgeous. Anyhow,
his hair is perfect.
Right? Look at that goatee.
no.
Oh, anyway, so
you said you really got involved about 20 years ago. You say?
yeah, and that was more so. I'll call it more research and just participation, not really doing things on my own. Uh, Discussion seminars, conferences, seminars. Of course, almost everybody in the field probably watched the first 5, 6 years or so of Ghost Hunters when it was on.
What
That's
was
where I
that?
learned. Yeah, I started learning a lot about the different things and where people go and all that. So then I began to do even more research about paranormal topics, and especially the history of places, because that's the part that I was really interested in, was the histories behind the stories and then trying to find evidence to support them. So a lot of that was going on at the time, and learned about different techniques, about uh, equipment that people used, from the bare bones, a compass to a simple candle, all the way up to the huge gadgets that are out there right now. And of course, I did invest in a lot of them after probably about 15 years ago. It's like, oh, this is so cool. I got to spend some money.
Hey, nothing's cooler than blinky lights. Blinky
Right?
lights are great.
Absolutely.
I mean,
And
that makes you a paranormal investigator. I got this machine. It blinks. I got this machine that makes weird noises, so I could tell there's a ghost there.
and I've got things that can remember it, either audio or visual. So those are important too. So a lot of things, vacations. I go on vacations. I bring my stuff with me. I bring my backpack with me of all the gadgets, unless I'm flying. That gets the TSA. The TSA gets a little interesting on those things, because I usually don't put them in. I usually don't put them in a one of my backpacks or whatever, my carry-ons. So I'll put it in there, and I'll put a little note: ghost hunting stuff. I've gotten a couple of messages back, especially when I went up to Alaska a few years ago, probably about 6 years ago now. But I went up there and I brought some stuff with me. I'm like, oh, I'm going to check out some places up in the Yukon and Alaska and the Arctic Circle. I was even up there. I did some investigating. But when I got up there to Alaska, I found a note in my suitcase. You've got some weird stuff here, but good luck.
Oh,
I'm
that's
like,
creepy.
I wish because they had to open it because there was electronic equipment in there. So yeah, so there's a little message in there, and I'm like, I wish I would have kept it because it would have been great now, but I didn't think about it.
Right?
But it was so cool that, good luck. It's like, great. But yeah, I've investigated
You're gonna support while you're on.
exactly. So I investigated all over the place. I want to say, from Maine all the way down to Florida, and then I'd say all the way west till about Colorado. I've done a little bit of stuff, but just on vacations or whatever. Beyond that, but on the other side of the Rockies, but a little bit of stuff out there. But I
So
can't talk about that.
no, you can't talk about that.
You can't talk
Because
about
it's
your
it's not in our area.
That's right.
Oh,
We're quad.
You said you've always been into the paranormal, but when was
Mhm.
the first time you had an actual, what you would say, an actual experience? How old were you?
An actual experience. Well, actually thinking back and, more recently, kind of reminiscing, I'd learned a new term or whatever. And then thinking back through meditation or whatever, I realized that I've had some strange things happen when I was growing up. I mean, telekinesis. I actually had an instance of telekinesis when I was probably, I don't know, 13, 14 years old. I remember it. It's like,
oh.
I remember doing something like that. And I thought about the story, and I was working at school, which is in Missouri. I was one of the janitors over the summer. Two of us cleaned up, all the floors. And I love your smile there, Adrian. Um, but I was kind of mad at the boss one day because he had gotten mad at us and kicked us out of the teacher's lounge, because that's where it was the only room that was air conditioned, and we ate lunch in there, where we are cooking a pizza but forgot. And that was bad. Smoke filled it, and we got yelled at. So we got kicked out of the teacher's lounge for about 2 weeks. So I was a little upset with that, and I'm down in the boiler room looking for some supplies, and I can't find it. I'm about 20 or so feet away from the intercom system, and I'm staring at it going, oh, I don't want to call. I don't want to call the office. I don't want to find my boss and ask him where it's at. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm staring at this thing, and somehow I pushed the button from 20 feet away with my mind only, because all of a sudden, out of my stupor, thinking about this, the lady in the office goes, her name was Miss Kathy. She goes, yes, Ken, what can I do for you? And I'm like, oh, I'm looking for Art.
Looking for
And
art.
that was his name, Art, and my boss. And she goes, well, I can call him. I said, no, it's okay, because I really didn't want to. And so she goes, okay. I said, I'll try to find it. I'll find it here somewhere. I know it's somewhere in this area. And I go, I got a question for you, though. How did you know it was me? She started laughing and said, because you said your name when you pushed the button. And I'm like, I didn't do any of that.
So was it that, or just lost kind of a lost time thing?
I would have had to go.
Paranormal.
It was definitely paranormal if you don't remember it.
Well, I did not walk over there because I'm still standing in the same spot.
Well, and you said you were really frustrated at the time. So isn't that kind of what
You are,
say poltergeist activity is just a burst? You said you're like 13, right?
Well, yeah, it's a poltergeist, which is telekinesis.
But
yeah, poltergeist. It's telekinesis. Telekinesis is one of the poltergeist potential activities. It's moving things with your mind, just like Carrie. Remember that?
But she wasn't poltergeist. She was telekinetic.
Exactly. You know what? All I can say is I did something that was not normal.
No, I do think that are not normal a lot. I mean, it's really kind of a cool story.
But I mean, but
it's a very cool story.
But as far as actually investigating and stuff like that, I really started that probably about 13 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And the first one was with, an actual investigation. I'd been doing stuff before that, but not really an investigation. I was in Reading, Pennsylvania, an enemy state right now for the four of us. But anyway, place called place called Overlook Mansion, and the place was haunted. And in Reading, Pennsylvania, right across the street was their main cemetery. It's several acres or whatever. But I had some really crazy stuff going on there. Stuff about I've actually saw, that was my first shadow figure I ever saw.
Oh yeah, and there at the Overlook.
At the Overlook Mansion,
Yeah.
yeah. And I'm sitting there in the chair right next to the bathroom, and I'm looking in. I kept seeing this figure wandering around. Then I'd see him on the wall. Then I'd see him on the floor. Then I just see him, just figure walking around. So I told the guys who were leading the thing. They went over there and kind of looked in. They didn't see anything. Start getting their toys out. And, of course, the blinky stuff started going off. And next thing, I'm looking in there, and there's nobody near the bathtub. There was a hand towel. Then a hand towel jumped about 2 feet in the air and landed on the floor. And I'm like, holy fill in the blank. And it was amazing. I actually saw something move on its own. And then I guess I investigated with that group probably about 3 times because I was working up there on a consulting project up there for almost a year. And that was back in 2010. And another time I was in the same place, was with a group of people, and I was sitting in the same spot by the bathroom because it was, kind of out of the way. I didn't want to be brought attention to myself. Spirit brought attention to me. Apparently, it decided to stop inside of me
Is he
as it was
frozen?
circling the
I'm sorry,
room.
Ken. Just
There he is.
whoa.
Am I
I was
frozen?
talking about that and you were frozen. And then when
Could
you
anybody?
stopped talking, you
Ooh.
unfroze.
Oh no.
I'm so
Okay.
sorry. Go continue.
Uh, from wherever it was when I froze, or
We can still hear you. That's the
Oh,
thing.
yeah, you
okay,
just keep
okay,
going.
okay, okay. Well, I was frozen in fear.
It was like you were
I've
like
had that happen before.
ventriloquist, but we couldn't see the dummy. You were just, but your lips weren't moving. It was awesome.
Oh my gosh, that's great. I love this group. This is awesome. But yeah, the spirit decided to come. Apparently, came right through my body, but it stopped. And I don't know if you've ever had that experience before, but
How
it
kind of passed through me? What do you mean it stopped?
it didn't continue through me. It just
So it wanted
stopped.
to like possess you?
Ew.
Like,
No. It just didn't want to possess me. It just stopped, like it was going to sit in the
wow.
same chair. I've had that feeling. Well, I've had that experience now several times since then, but I didn't know what the
It's
hell it
because
was.
you're cuddly, Ken.
I
You're a
think so.
cuddly individual.
I'm called a teddy bear, but it's okay. But yeah, this thing stopped, and it felt like nothing but cobwebs. So
Yes,
I'm
I felt that.
going
I've
like
felt that
this and
before.
knocking my head on the floor and everything else, and like, what the hell is going on? Blah 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 blah, and then it just kind of kept on going. But I found out right afterwards, because when that happened, there's like 10 people in the room. There must have been 100 photos, flashing photos being taken of me. And I was told afterwards that what they saw, besides me, beating my face and knocking my hat, trying to get rid of this cobweb stuff, they said there was an arc of light that went from like the one shoulder all the way across to my other shoulder, and then it disappeared. And I'm like, nobody's got a picture of it. And the guy, of course, told me the team I was hanging out with, they said no, everything was basically ruined, and they couldn't really get good pictures of it, so they wouldn't give me it.
no.
And I'm like, oh, man, that was such a
That
cool
stinks.
experience. So that was my first experience.
But see, that just winds you up, doesn't it? Because once
Oh,
you have one
absolutely.
experience, you're like, I want another one.
Yes.
Exactly. But preceding that one, I'm sitting the very first one I ever went on up there. I'm bored. I'm sitting in the corner by the window, same room, but I'm by the windows this time, and there's one of these trifold mirrors behind me, like a dressing mirror, whatever they call
Yeah.
them. I'm sitting in a chair, facing the room. There's a window on each side, but they're closed, and it's like 102 degrees outside, 2 o'clock in the morning, and we're upstairs, and there's no air conditioning. We're dying up there, and I'm sweating like crazy, and I'm like, okay, it's bored. I'm bored. There's nothing going on. So I'm like, okay, what would the ghost hunters do? Because that's the only experience I had with what would the ghost hunters do in this in this instance. Well, I remembered that they said ghosts hate change. I'm like, okay, I'll fix you guys. I'm thinking all this stuff, and so there's a lamp next to me with one of those little dingly ball
Dingly ball.
shades on it, like on the shades, the little dingly balls. So I took the lamp and I moved it about 4 or 5 inches and I twisted it so everything's moving and jiggling. Then I turned over the ashtray. I said, "Here, take that." 5 minutes later, I am ice cold.
Yeah, ghosts are all OCD. Don't be flipping my stuff around.
Nice.
That's what I felt. I'm like, okay, that got me started. So go ahead.
Ken,
Yeah.
we do have a question for you.
Uh-huh.
Someone was asking, when that went through you and stopped
Mhm.
or into you and stopped, did it make you very cold or did you feel cold when it happened?
On that particular one, all I knew is that I needed to get those cobwebs away. That's the
Mhm.
only thing I remember. Now, like I said, I've had that experience many times now in the past, let's say 5 years or so. And oh yeah, I've had it. I don't get that. I get the tingly feeling, but it wasn't as prominent as that particular one. But oh yeah, I've had spirits either they've given me hugs.
Mhm.
They've actually we're both sitting in the same chair, let's say.
Mhm.
I'm there, but they're also sitting in the same chair, so I can feel their, and yes, it's been it's been documented that on 4 or 5 times now it's happened that my temperature has dropped at least 15 to 20 degrees.
In the
And at
air
one
around
time,
you.
and
Wow.
my temperature
Your temperature.
when they shot me with a temperature gun
Okay, yeah, okay.
from across the room, it was reading about one of them was almost 30 degrees colder. And I am so cold, I was shaking and chattering. I couldn't even talk. I was chattering so much.
See, I've never, well, I can't say never. I've only experienced one thing that I would consider a cold spot. Now, I've felt temperature drops and stuff like that, but I'm such a skeptic. I'm like, oh, it comes from here doing this. And so I usually just discount every one of those things. But we was at a home here in Fort Smith where there was a rather gruesome murder way back when. And we did the investigation there. And when I was in the bedroom of the mother, not where she died in the kitchen. But when I was in there, I thought the window was open. I thought there was it was a seriously cold feeling, like somebody turned on an air conditioning. And me and one of the other investigators I was with, Barry, we were trying to figure it out, trying to find it. Never could find it. But that was the only time I could say that I can't figure out where this come from, because there was no central air, window was shut, nothing going on. So that's the only time I scratched my head on that. But I've had a lot of people talk about cold spots, or they can feel it's cold or whatever around them, but I never could figure that out. So I have somebody actually being able to record that moment of a cold spot around you, that'd be pretty interesting. That'd be pretty cool.
That's
It,
that's
uh,
neat.
again, it happens all the time for me. It's just one of the ways I know that there's somebody or there's something around me, and I can just sense the different things too.
Do you
However,
consider yourself a ghost magnet?
I do.
Do you?
Yeah, they used to tease me and say I was ghost bait,
So
but
that's what I was thinking. They have all these
yeah,
people asking for, bait. Usually it's in conjunction with a crypto creature, but that's okay. We'll just use you as
true,
bait. If ever we
true.
go anywhere, we know who to send.
But yeah, and the thing is, because I'm not afraid to sit in a room, part of a building by myself, or even go to the building by myself. So
Mhm.
as because other people, I know other people are there. So yeah, I've had a couple teams I was kind of investigating with years ago. They kind of knew that, so they go, "Okay, Ken's our guinea pig tonight." I'm like, "Great,
Great.
we're." It's like, I'm sorry. Oh, I was like,
She.
but it's like we're gonna.
Let's move to Missouri. What's your favorite place in Missouri to go to?
I really do. I really do like the Lemp Mansion. I've been there. I used to give tours there, ghost tours during Halloween season with another group years and years ago. Started learning the history about it and done a lot of research on it. I get really good evidence captures and even experiences at the Lamp Mansion, and it's gotten to the point now, even through my spirit box, they'll call my name, they'll
To
ask for me.
Slough.
Nice.
Yeah, I've
That is cool.
Yeah, that's at the Lemp Mansion. I really enjoy the Missouri State
Do you ever
Penitentiary.
get?
If
Do
that's
you ever get to go? Oh, it's him again.
I've gotten how do I say this? I've gotten FU'd a couple times.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I
me
put
too.
that
Just
I
today at work.
but I put that spirit in its place because I said, look, dude, I don't know who you are. I don't care where you are. I can't see you, but you're not allowed to talk to me that way because frankly, I've already apologized for my mistake I did a week before that. I did learn in that situation that was at the Missouri Botanical Gardens.
Which is where the event was at that I
that
met
was
you
the
at.
event.
Yeah.
Yes, correct. And we did that 2 years in a row. But we made for the Spirits in the Garden event, which is at the Missouri Botanical Garden, usually the Friday before Halloween. We started that. Matter of fact, that's one of the first things the group did when we were all together. Oh my goodness, I forget what year that was. Might have been 13, 14, it doesn't matter, but a number of years ago. And I lost my train of thought on that, but I learned at that one that don't promise time frames to the spirit world.
Oh no,
They can,
I don't think they really understand.
they do. They understand. They can tell time.
Can they? I've never. I always
Yeah,
that's one of the questions I ask. What time is it? So I never get an answer. It's like, dude, you got to
well,
watch or something like that. They never say anything like that.
Dude, you gotta watch.
Okay,
yeah.
Ken, we have Leslie in chat, and she said, Ken, do you remember when we were at the convention in Fort Smith several years back? You,
Mhm.
Stephen, and I were sitting in the bar area when the country singer got pushed down 3 steps into
Yeah,
the bar
Terry
and lounge
Brown.
area where we were sitting, and
Terry
What?
nobody
Brown.
behind him
Mhm.
visually.
Yep,
Wow,
that was Terry Brown, and we're still friends on Facebook.
that's
Wow.
crazy.
Yeah, yeah, because we saw him walking because he was at the music awards next door, and they had just left there, and he had won the top honors, and we saw him come in, and he was at the top of the steps, and he got about closest person was probably about maybe 2 feet behind him. He got to the steps. He did not trip. He ended up flying down and missed all 3 of the steps and landed on the floor.
Oh my
And
gosh.
we're like, Steve and I looked at each other and we're like, and I think Leslie, I think you were there too with us. It's somebody else. Um, was somebody else with us too. Anyway, they were like, he didn't trip. He was pushed. So yeah, so he was pushed down the steps. So missed all 3 of them. He didn't get hurt, but
At the hotel that was.
right there at the
Yeah.
hotel, right by the bar, or in the bar,
Wow.
because you guys were, if you facing the bar, you guys were to the right in those rooms, and this would be by the door to the left. We were sitting out there in that lounge area, just sitting there
Did he
talking.
say anything?
Oh, Jamie Mosley, I think her
I
name
demand
is.
a discount.
So yeah, but we told him. I said, you didn't. He said, I think I just tripped. I'm okay. I'm okay. I said, no, I'm sorry, man, but you didn't. You were pushed. Nobody pushed you, but you were actually pushed off that top step. So some
Wow.
spirit apparently didn't like. I joke and said something about. Yeah, I don't think that spirit liked country western. I don't know. That's the only thing I could come up with at the time. I
That
felt kind
ghost
of
is a little bit rock and roll.
exactly, and I kind of felt bad, but I'm like, oh my god, yeah. You mentioned a few minutes ago, Adrian, about breezes, like open windows.
Uh-huh.
I've actually had a couple of experiences where one happened outside, but we had just investigated. This was at Central Methodist University, which is near Columbia, Missouri. And we were sitting out there, it was hot. We were just talking about, okay, what we're going to do next. There's 10 of us there. And we're talking about the spirit that died in one of the in the assembly hall, music conductor, and all of a sudden we're playing the music that was that he died of a heart attack during a concert in the music hall, and we were playing the song that was going on when he died, and we're asking some questions. We heard some things over the spirit box, but all of a sudden, again, it was a very, very hot day, you know, upper 90s, and it's like around midnight again. So we're all sitting out there sweating and dying.
Moist.
All of a sudden, yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's the word you use. But we're sitting out there. All of a sudden, this breeze, I should say, a wind came through, a good 20-mile-an-hour breeze or so. That wind just kind of snaked around us and, you know, passed us by, and kept going from the point where he died during that song until the end of the song. The song was like
wild.
it was like 3 or 4 minutes long, and so for about a minute and a half. And another place, which I can't talk about Ohio, but
you can, because it was your experience.
okay,
Yeah, we're
thank
talking
you.
about you. It's future
Okay.
shows. You're not allowed to talk about other
All
stuff.
right, all right. Thank goodness. But yeah, we were in the middle of Ohio State Reformatory in the center. There's no open
Great
windows.
place, by the way. And
I
if the
love it.
Ohio State Reformatory ever wants us to be there, they just let us know. And
We're there in less than a heartbeat.
that's right.
Yes.
But yeah, we were up in that crossover area between the two halves of the building, and there's a hallway there, and we had a session there. It was amazing, which I'm not going to talk about tonight. But as soon as the spirit basically was freed, because he needed a story told, as soon as that happened, the whole room completely lightened up. We had no flashlights or anything turned on, but you could actually see it was a greenish glow. We could see each other in this greenish glow in this room, and this wind of about 30 miles an hour came snaking down the hallways and through that area. I would say it lasted probably less than a minute, but there's no windows.
Yeah.
There was no windows open. Where'd this breeze come from? We don't know, but it just came through, and it's like it just washed the place clean, and then everything just totally lightened up. So that's a story in itself, which was just totally
I've been in
amazing.
places like that at the hospital that we don't talk about here, that everybody knows about, that we're not allowed to speak of. We've been there where it's been like really, really dark and heavy, and then it just goes away. And
like this last time when he was with us, because
I was there, and I even got there when I was talking with Tina down. She's giving the tour of the basement area with somebody else. I don't know who was down there with us.
It was Tina and Debbie.
Okay, so we were down there, and I actually captured, which I know you've got a copy of it.
Yeah,
you got a copy of it, of the figure that ran across my camera, the thermal camera. So
I'll post
amazing.
it in the group tonight.
That's
Okay.
cool.
It was amazing, absolutely, totally amazing. And then the people, and then the people who were sitting down or the guy standing down in that room at the far end of that hallway, which was locked, a locked door. It's just a room full of newspapers and boxes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I've got a guy looking out the window back at us.
Yeah.
I think I showed you guys that picture too. It was just amazing.
Yeah.
So,
isn't that kind of like in the same area that Tina was at one time that you were talking about, Adrian?
What? Who went?
The guy that was looking back at us? Because I know there was one. No, that was on the fifth.
Yes, that was up.
No, fifth floor was kind of cool too. I didn't like that black dots on the wall in that last room though. But anyway,
I want to share this back to Limp. What that's one of the places I'm interested in going to one of these days. Most of them, I know I said it last week, and I'll say it all the time, because most of my investigations have always been homes and stuff. I have had a chance to go to a couple of neat places, like Ohio State. That was great. This hospital down here, a couple other places, Stone Line Inn in Oklahoma, but most of it's been houses. But I've seen things on shows, and I'll talk about the Booth brothers. Now, you met them, right?
Yeah, I've known them for a few years.
Yeah.
But that was the first time I had met the one.
on Children of the Grave 2,
Mhm.
they were investigating. Anita Talvo was in there, and hopefully she'll be
Mhm.
on the show too someday.
Good.
And they were experiencing something at a stairwell, and they can actually see a figure as she's interacting with this figure. It's coming towards the stairwell, and I just, ever since that moment, I've wanted to be to go check this place out, because it's one thing to catch an EVP and it's really fantastic, but I mean, we all want to see something, and have an opportunity to see something like that. It'd be awesome. But what's your
Well,
favorite place in Lemp area?
yeah, I'm just going to tell you too that when I gave tours there, ghost tours during Halloween season for 3 years, one of the first things I would tell everybody is, and I tell everybody when I give a tour or anything, first thing is never expect anything.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because if you do, what have you just done? Whatever you're expecting, that's the only sense you're using.
The only thing I ever expected to be let down.
Well, okay. So now you've got all of your senses are closed down. So there you go.
Yeah.
But I tell people, if you're expecting anything, hear, sound, feel, whatever, now you're only focusing on that. You've just blocked all your other senses. They could be, banging on your shoulder, and you never know it because you're trying to see something. Well, it's just goofy. But have I seen stuff there? Yes. Have I seen a lot there? No. But have I captured? I've captured photos. I've got a photo of a man looking out the upstairs window from outside. I'm out by the street, and there's a man looking out the window upstairs. There's nobody in the building. I've got a picture of, I call him the gray man in the mirror. That was in the basement. He's the only, but he's also in the room. He's also gray in the room, but nobody sees him either place. I happen to capture him on a photo. I've had whisperings in my ears. Somebody be giving a talk or whatever, and I'd be hearing a move or, oh, really? Are you kidding me? Just little whispers, and it's like, yeah. Okay, it's cool, really cool. What else have we have a picture of a shadow man up in the second floor, Charles Lemp suite, which is kind of amazing because I didn't take the picture, but I'm actually in the picture. A friend of mine took it and gave me a copy of it. But one of the people I'm really hoping to be able to contact is an author that I know out in Denver. She wrote a book about the Lemp Mansion and about the history of the family members. And she has a photo in her book that was actually given to her by Stephanie from the McIntyre Villa up in Atchison, up in your area. And I was looking at that picture because I just met Stephanie not long ago, and because we went to the McIntyre, but I'm looking at in the book, she's got a copy of the book, which I have a copy too. I'm looking at that picture going, oh my God, that photo was taken about 10, she said about 8 to 10 years before my friend took a picture. It's the same person. It's the same shadow. Yeah. It's the same shadow figure. And I will do a comparison, but I would like to get her on the show to actually interview her and talk about the Lemp, because she's really into it as well.
I did find that video, by the way.
Like a minute. Oh, what? Oh, yeah, you can show it. I mean,
sure. Go ahead.
If you're ready.
Ready.
That's that shadow figure, or that
shadow figure.
That thermal figure. It's really quick.
Wow.
Why is it not starting?
Because
I gotta press play.
You want to see where I saw the full body apparition?
I was gonna say, and Tina's doing the narrating on this one. Okay.
Now we're standing over here, which this is the kitchen. Right?
Okay. Oh.
The stoves were here, and I was talking, and somebody said, "I'm in," and they were going to take a picture. As I already.
You'll have to let me know what it is or how it's going, because I can't see it from here.
It's just now showing the slow mo.
Oh, okay.
The entity.
Oh, that's in the kitchen.
In the kitchen.
Yes.
Yep. got it going low. Frame by frame.
As I already explained, I keep my eyes open when people are taking pictures because that's usually when I see stuff. And she was standing on the other side of this.
And there goes.
Yeah, that was
over there.
That's
that
pretty
was
clear.
very
Interesting.
On the
interesting.
thermal,
And she had on
That's
a robe,
cool.
a patient gown.
Yeah, I've been pretty fortunate to, and there's a lot of places that really we can't get into, or it's very, very difficult to get into now, over the past few years. But I have had a few instances where I've been really fortunate to be able to investigate several different things here in Missouri. Trying to think of, they're kind of non-accessible, but Missouri Botanical Gardens is one. As a matter of fact, you can watch our video. It's called Spirits in the Garden. It's on YouTube, and it's also on the Gardens website that we created, I want to say back in 14, something like that. I've investigated the fabulous Fox Theater downtown. That was amazing. I've investigated not too far from there the Scottish Rite Cathedral. Can't get into some of these places easily anymore, but the Bissell Mansion, which is, it's not condemned, but it's for sale. My buddy got us in, actually Steve got us in to a place called the Magic Chef Mansion, which is here in St. Louis. And we did about 3 hours there. I did a spirit box session, and I ended up talking to one of the people who used to live there. She even told me her name. She even told us her name, which was just amazing. Morris Mill, that's been out there for a long time, but I think it's been sold. So I don't think the new people are letting people in. We've investigated Central Methodist University when one of our members' daughters was going there, and he was able to get us in, which was absolutely amazing. We investigated there for 3 nights and 4 days. So
wow.
That was fun.
So the Methodist University let you in? That's pretty wild.
Central Methodist University. Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
That's
That
cool.
was as in Fayette, Missouri, right there about 30 or so miles from Columbia, University of Missouri. So,
oh, cool.
That is cool.
Some cafes. I've investigated several libraries in the area, and like I said before too, my shtick is, I call it parahistory.
Yeah.
Yeah, I give lectures. I probably have about 10 different lectures that I can give. But it's combining history with some stories and then evidence to support some of those stories. That's what I really enjoy doing. So I've got a couple of them with the about the Lemp Mansion and about the Lemp family, talk about them. And I have some conversations, I'll call it that way, with some of the, with some of the spirits, and it is actually amazing. So we've talked to Steve and I on Halloween probably about three or so years ago. We're getting ready to do something, and we're just driving around Forest Park in the afternoon, and I'm like, you know what, Elsa Lemp's place, or the last one that got basically murdered, the family, the kids.
Basically murdered.
Well, I'm sorry. It's officially a suicide, but
okay.
I'm sorry. I still say it was a murder,
okay.
just because of the circumstances. But no, officially it's a suicide. But I found the house, so we sat in front of the house in the neighborhood. It's a fenced off area, so we sat in front of there and had the spirit box going, and we actually had a brief conversation, we think, with Elsa, and she started crying when we asked about can you tell us anything. I mean, it was heart-wrenching. So I've got a dialogue piece of evidence that I present every once in a while, which is pretty it was pretty amazing. So but yeah, there's a lot of places that you can't go to, but there's a lot of places you can, and which we'll talk about, as time goes on. Missouri State Pen, Pythian Castle, which is down in Springfield. I'm reading from a list here, sorry. Pythian Castle, Tri-County Truck Stop, I think is still open. I think Greg, PTF, they host a lot of that stuff. Zombie Road, That's
Yeah, you're saying
Lawler Ford Road. You can just wander around
Zombie
there.
Road. Zombie Road. You see the picture that Keith H did, and
Yeah.
it sounds really interesting. But you also hear the story of like the animals that were going to eat them, and once again, bad.
Adrian, this is they only allow you now there during the day. It's actually a park.
Things
it's
that are
called
going to
Lawler.
See them coming to
things
eat
that
you,
are going to
Adrian.
eat you don't go out there during the day. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, you are safe.
I used to watch
cloak
Wild
of
Country.
invisibility.
They always ate the gazelles, and I'm sure it tastes better than a gazelle. And they always ate them in the day. Anyhow,
that's really egotistical, wasn't it?
It's Adrian we're talking about. I mean,
so.
But anyway, Zombie Road. I mean, we'll hear stuff, or sometimes you'll see. I mean, I will, and other people who spirits potentially do show themselves to me every once in a while, if they want to. So, but we've seen some shadow figures out there in Zombie Road during the day. It's a park. It's a walking paved walkway. So, but I just walk it with my spirit box turned on, and we'll get people talking to us all the time. So then you've got the Vale and Bingham Wagner mansions out near Kansas City area. Found some other places that we've gone to that you can just go to. There's a place called Where Pigs Fly. Where Pigs Fly Pig and Farm Museum. That's what it's called. And
I don't want to go there because it's too hard to say it.
Just say Where Pigs Fly. So, but there's an old mansion on the property, and Cindy Brennicky, who were friends of ours, we host some stuff out there every once in a while, and you can actually stay in the mansion overnight, and we'll do spirit box sessions and pendulum sessions and whatever else out there. It's called the Ivan Mansion.
The Ivan Mansion.
IVEN.
Let's check that out.
Yeah. So it's kind of cool. I know time's running short here, but one of the things we're talking about are events. That's one of the things
I was going to try to lead you that direction.
Yeah, it's right here. It's on my list.
Oh, look at that, a cheat sheet.
I got a cheat sheet. Yeah, that's why I keep kind of looking away now and then. But we do have something that started last year. It's down in Cape Girardeau. I can't remember. I want to say it was in August, I believe. It's called the Strange Things Conference. It was a lot of fun, and they're supposed to be doing it again this year, and I think sometime in August. There is a
Strange
Things Conference.
Okay.
And it's in Cape Girardeau. There's a haunted house expo coming up at the convention center downtown.
What is that? Is that like for the spook houses?
Yeah, it's a huge in the convention center. I've never been to it. You actually have to sign up for it, and I don't know if
30-foot skeleton.
I don't know what there you go. I don't know what the the criteria is, but I think it has to do with people who create haunted houses.
Yeah.
And that's what this whole conference.
That would just be fun to go to.
I know. I think it's, I can't remember if it's next month. I keep thinking it's in February, but I haven't found the date on that one yet. Of course, we've got a lot of haunted houses, some pretty good ones too. I mentioned, I did post this and I said last week, sometimes our groups, we just go eagle watching. And we've got that event coming up. I actually forgot because I'm usually on the enemy side of the river. Can't say that. Can I say Illinois? No. Anyway, yeah. I usually go to Illinois, and hey. Spend a lot of time. Spend a lot of time over there doing stuff. But anyway,
I have a question for you when you're done.
Because I'm right on the border. But eagle watching is coming up on the 28th and 29th up in Clarksville, Missouri. That's not too far from where Momo was in Louisiana. So it's up that way. And then, of course, we've got the usually from 4 to 6 weeks. It's out near Forest. It's actually in Forestell, Missouri, which is by Wentzville and not too far from St. Charles. The St. Louis Renaissance Fair that runs during about 4 to 6 weekends between September and October.
Cool.
I'm going to try to
have people watching
Oh,
What's
okay.
Are there ways to provoke action?
Yes, if you're a TV personality. Um,
Well,
you
there
can
are good
provoke.
ways aside from
I
bad
mean,
ways.
you're right. I mean, you can provoke, but I don't provoke because
They
You
come
don't know what you're
naturally.
provoking.
Yeah.
I am
you don't know
very
what, you don't
anti-provoking.
know where they're at, and you don't know what they can do to you. They can do all sorts of stuff. I've been slapped, I've been poked, I've been hit, I've been pushed. So it's like
They
I'm
can
not going
attach and make your life a living hell.
Yes, they can. Yes, they can. I will just say it that way. Yes. So yeah, I don't provoke, but you can still demand in a nice way, but don't say you got to knock on the door or you got to knock on the wall 3 times. That's crazy.
Oh God.
That's a request. That's not a demand. I mean,
some people demand it. Knock on the wall 3 times. It's like,
Well, for one, you don't know what, like you said, you don't know what you're provoking.
Yeah.
well, there was that show on Ghost Hunters where I think it was Dustin. Okay.
Dustin.
Dustin's one of them.
Yeah, I wanted to provoke, he wanted to be the one. And then what he provoked was this sad sounding woman. And I'm like, oh, terrible. So
Yeah.
it sounds like fun. No, you don't know what you're doing.
Sometimes when you accidentally, they said, I don't want to accidentally provoke. Tell me how to not fair.
Well, just like when you're talking to people, because that's who you're talking to.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, you may not be able to
Courteous.
see them. They may be a ghost, but it's not a movie. It's not the ghosts in movies are these angry, terrible things that
it's not the Amityville Horror.
No.
Right.
That kind of thing. But no, the way I do investigations is I predominantly just talk to them as if they're friends.
Oh yeah.
Because you don't know who they are, but you'd be polite to them because they were people. If you believe in that. Some people don't, but I just treat them as if they're basically still alive, because in a way they kind of are. They're just not here in body that we can see.
Different form.
It's just in a different form. It's an energy form of some kind. So yeah, I mean, just talk to them, and I have had some amazing conversation just recording. With the spirit box, they'll respond. They'll answer you, but you don't have to provoke, because that's just not polite. I'll just say it that way.
Yeah,
So,
basically, it just turns you into a punk.
Mm-hmm.
So
exactly. So, and then they're going to beat the heck out of you, and you're not going to know where it came from, because they're going to gang up on you.
That hour went by fast, y'all.
I've got one more thing that I want to throw out here.
Okay.
If I can, if we got a minute or two.
Sure.
You got 25 seconds.
Fine.
24.
Fine. I thought about 7 things you can't say on our paranormal podcasts.
Uh-oh.
Okay. All right. First
okay,
one.
you're not George Carlin, right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's where I went.
That was the premise behind it, but no, this is a family show. So the 7 things you can't say on paranormal podcasts. It's just your imagination.
You
Yeah.
can't say that.
Number 2, you're wrong. You're wrong. This is paranormal investigating. It's just your imagination. You're wrong is the second one. Third one is ghosts aren't real. See, we're getting into those fighting things now, right? Number 4. Number 4. That's stupid. That's another fighting one. A lot of people believe this one. Number 5 here. Shadow figures are evil. It's like, what if it's your grandma? She wants to come by and bring you some cookies. Maybe she's got poison cookies. I don't know, but maybe. But there's no such things as experts in this field.
Oh, wait.
There aren't. There are no experts. There are experienced, but there are no experts. There's a big difference there.
Prove something.
Right?
There's no. Yeah. So anyway, so that was number 6. Number 7, which is another fighting one here. Orbs or spirits.
Now
So
I wait.
I do have a few pictures that are orbs that
Watch out, Keith Age might come after you.
You know what? I've met him. I understand.
He's amazing. He's an amazing guy.
I've been avoiding him since Adrian's conference. So, but that's I think that's where I met him.
Yeah.
Anyway, but there may be some more after this as time goes on. But those are
I'd say some of those things.
That's why I brought.
But that's why you're the skeptic. That's why you're the skeptic, Adrian. You're the skeptic believer.
That's right. But we got to wrap this thing up. And, and before we do, I would like to have a shout out for Christopher Booth. He is doing a haunted auction bazaar thing on Facebook. So if you like the spooky dolls, the haunted dolls, and you like creepy things, he's got a lot of creepy things for sale.
Stuff that he's gotten from over
stuff like that. Yeah.
Out of a nunnery.
Cool.
So, yeah.
So it's pretty cool, and it's always worth a look. He always has some cool stuff on there. And we bought several things. As a matter of fact, I got some things on the wall up here from the previous bazaars. But
and him and his twin brother are the sweet. Y'all need to go.
They're really cool.
Yeah, they really are good guys.
And they got that movie that they just wrapped up. So I'm looking forward to that.
When is that coming out? Do we have any idea?
I asked him when's the premiere, and I didn't get him, but I got one of those bots that come on. And said, hey,
have to mess.
Anyhow, but yeah, check out the bazaar. Buy some stuff. That'd be cool.
Christopher. Yeah, look it up. Philip, Adrian, the brothers.
No, we're not related, by the way.
No, not at all. Don't they have a group?
For the bizarre stuff.
It's spooktv.com.
Spooktv.com.
Yeah, Spook TV. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well,
and I'll wear my I Am Spook shirt next week instead of my podcast shirt, because you don't have to, if you're on the show, you don't really have to ask me about my podcast because you're watching the podcast. So I should wear this when I go to Walmart.
Well, yeah, Walmart and everywhere else you go. So you have to wear it daily. You have to wash it every night.
Well, guys, thank you again, and
thank you
for letting me, kind of be me this week, and it was fun. Good
to meet you, Ken.
Good to learn all kinds of stuff about you, Ken. That's cool.
There's so much more you guys will.
Y'all need to go to the Facebook page.
That's awesome.
What's that?
All right, everybody.
They need to go to the Facebook page.
See you next week.
Bye, y'all.
Thanks. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.